This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories.
And welcome to my video looking at 10 of the greatest sacrifices in fiction. These obviously aren't the only greatest ones, and there are probably hundreds, if not thousands more, but these are just the 10 I decided to look at. And before we continue, happy Memorial Day, and I do want to thank all those who serve the US, and especially those who gave their lives to keep this country safe. I don't want to go into any of the politics of if these wars, some of these wars are justified or not, but I do want to express my gratitude to those who have given their lives. But moving back to this, I am looking at really anyone who gave their life, and they have to actually stay dead, at least up to the time this is released. And if this is retconned after, there's nothing really I could do about that. But also, I'm considering people who, although stay dead, someone like Obi-Wan Kenobi, who I was considering until I realized that he did know there was going to be life after death for him, and he would still be able to make influence, so I decided not to include Obi-Wan on this. And people like that who would have known that there's basically a way for them to live after they died would not be considered. But if it's like really anyone else who became a Force ghost that didn't fully know about it, like Anakin, I would consider them for this. And one other thing I want to mention is an honorable mention to Fives, because although he did sacrifice himself to prevent something, it was more close to murder for him to cover up, and he really didn't know that he'd be killed in that situation. He was just trying to talk to Anakin and Rex and was sort of ambushed and killed. I do want to give an honorable mention to him, though, since his death and everything he did create the situation for Ahsoka and Rex to survive. But since it's closer to murder for him, I don't think I can fully count it. But let's go into the list, starting off with my first choice, and this is just going to be mainly them grouped together by different franchises, and not saying any is greater than the other, because anyone who chooses to give their life in service of others are all equal, and I don't think it's really fair to be giving these a ranking, but these are just 10 of the ones I wanted to mention, and as I said, there's a bunch of others that are just as equal as this, and these are just the 10 I decided to look at. And the first one I want to look at is Pops from Regular Show. And man, this is just probably the saddest one of all of these. Pops was just such a happy, nice person, and him giving his life to protect his friends definitely makes sense, but it just doesn't make it any less sad because he's just a great person, and him giving his life was just really sad. I don't think anyone who watched Regular Show would disagree with this, and his death was, although extremely tragic, one of just the best moments in the show because it was so well done. And him giving his life for everyone else to live was truly great. The next of the great sacrifices I'm going to talk about is Tony Stark's in Avengers Endgame. And this was a really great sacrifice for Tony because he really had everything he needed for life. He had a loving wife, a loving daughter, and although he did lose Peter Parker, he did not have to go and do this time travel mission and risk bringing Thanos back. He could have just refused to go in, create time travel, or I'll be mentioning this in a video that will probably come out after Deadpool 3. What's most likely multiverse travel, and he definitely didn't have to go through all this, which led to his death, and that caused not only billions of people on Earth and trillions throughout the universe to be returned to life, but also led to him creating a situation where everyone didn't die so Thanos could recreate the universe. And this sacrifice is just truly noble and great, and just everything he gave up to make sure everyone else could live was a truly great thing for him to do. Another great one done in Marvel was the death of Wolverine, and this one is from Logan, and from what it seems, in case you want to mention it, it doesn't seem that this is going to be retconned by Deadpool and Wolverine. It seems that that's going to be a different version of Wolverine, and Logan's sacrifice in this film, it was truly great. He went on and fought through a situation to save his, well, essentially his daughter, although it's more of a clone created from his genetic material. And he did that to not only save her and all the other children and stop a great evil, he was able to protect them, and honestly, it was a very tragic moment. It was really well done, also, and it was a great ending for the character. And that one was truly well done, really awesome, and it was just an incredibly emotional scene as he takes his last breaths, and it really was a great moment. And send off for the character of Wolverine from the X-Men universe. Up next, we have the death of Kanan Jarrus, and this one is another really great sacrifice through the fact that he didn't have to go through all of this. He went and put his life in danger for the woman he loved and to free her, and he sacrificed his life so everyone else he loved and cared about would live. Who knows, maybe he could have specifically escaped that situation using some kind of force jump or force speed, but he decided to put himself there, hold back the fire, and push everyone else away just long enough for them to escape. And not only that, he also used this to destroy all the fuel and take down the TIE Defender project. And that was another really great sacrifice. It was very well done, and it was pretty surprising that they would put in something that's pretty dark when Disney had control of it. I definitely expect something like that from Clone Wars, but it's pretty shocking for them to kill off a main character, especially under Disney, and putting it on a more kid-friendly Disney show. But still, it was really well done, and definitely showed that they were willing to go a little darker with it, and had a pretty great moment of sacrifice for him that has shown that they can't really undo it because it is a very critical moment in the World Between Worlds episode. Up next, I have it's kind of a tie between different characters, but it's the deaths of everyone from the Rogue One team that all gave their lives to get the Death Star plans. And this one is a really critical one for the Star Wars timeline because if they didn't give their lives, then basically everything that the rebellion was doing was going to fail. The Death Star would have been completely unstoppable, and there would have been no chance for really anyone to do anything against the Empire. But with them giving their lives, they gave Luke Skywalker the opportunity to destroy it, and then they set down a path of events that would have led to the defeat of the Empire. And that was truly just great and well done, and it was really interesting. But now let's move on to the next one. And this one is the death of Chewbacca, which, although is kind of controversial, is a really great sacrifice compared to just everything this Wookiee has done. He gave his life so his best friend's kid could live, and that's a really great sacrifice, but just looking at everything, Chewbacca always gave everything he can to help Han and honor his life debt, and they were truly great friends. Han took his death very hard, and he gave his life to save Anakin Solo, who, although would eventually give his life, I didn't want to put him on here since I already had so many Star Wars entries and still have one more of them. But still, this was a really great moment for Chewbacca. It just shows how dedicated and good of a person he was. And it's totally no surprise that Chewbacca would have gave his life for Han and his family. But still is very tragic and is just really well done. It's totally something Chewbacca would do. And Chewbacca is truly a great character and is someone I totally see giving his life, and he did it. It was very tragic, and he went on in a very epic way, being taken out by a moon. And although some people didn't love this, I think that it does make sense. It helped put stakes into the new Jedi Order, and also showed that Chewbacca was truly a heroic character that would give his life for his friends. The next one I want to talk about is Anakin Skywalker giving his life to save his son. And he chose to, in this moment, give up on all the evil things he's done, give up on all the power he has, and give his life for his kid. And he really didn't know Luke at all. It is really great for him to do this, and was a really awesome moment. If we just take a look at how he really had nothing he could do to survive in this moment. He easily could have let his master kill Luke and let things go as they once were. Yes, Palpatine tried to kill him, but he would have realized this is the way of the Sith, and he was planning to do the same thing. He could have waited and bided his time to try and kill Sidious in a different way and take over the galaxy for himself. But he realized his son's love for him and that everything he did in his life was truly terrible, and he gave his life to save his son and take out a great evil and restore freedom to the galaxy. It really was a great moment, and although he does become a Force ghost, he didn't know of this when he gave his life, and it was truly great for him to come back as a Force ghost and be able to at least give a little bit of guidance to Ahsoka in canon and have that nice moment where he watches upon the victory in Return of the Jedi. But it is truly crazy to just think that someone so evil would have returned to becoming a good person, and he gave up really everything for this, and it was just truly amazing. Moving on to the next one, although some people don't think he's dead, I'm going to consider him dead for this, and that is Wally West from Young Justice. And as I said, a lot of people think that he is still alive somehow, but I think that honestly he is dead, although it would be awesome to see him return. I just don't think that if the show gets another season, which I do hope it does, that Wally will be revealed to be alive. I think that he is permanently dead, and his sacrifice was really great to save the world. He went in to make sure that it was safe and all he loved and cared about was still there. It was just really awesome to see and was truly a great sacrifice. And although some people think he may still be alive, as I said, I'm considering him to be dead. And if it is retconned, then, well, it's really not on me since he is currently dead at this moment. And I think that he is still really a great character, and his sacrifice was truly great, giving up a great life to make sure that the world was safe, even though he may not have been needed. He wanted to make sure with 100% certainty that the world will be saved. The next one I want to talk about is the death of Theoden from Lord of the Rings, and I could also take this moment to once again say rest in peace to his actor who passed away recently. But going into this, Theoden totally did not need to go to Gondor's aid. Yes, there was a treaty between the two and an agreement that they would go to help each other. But after all his people suffered, he easily could justify that he didn't have the resources or the ability to go and protect Gondor since his lands would still be in trouble, but Theoden selflessly decided to go and help his allies in Gondor. Even though shown in the movies, he did have some doubts. He was totally willing to and didn't really question it in the books. And that was just made more for a little bit of artificial tension in the films, but he knew what the right thing was, and he would go to help his allies in Gondor no matter what. And him going up against the Witch King is truly impressive. Even though he does fall, he is a great hero and a great king, and his death was a truly tragic moment, but still led to a great victory. And if it wasn't for him going to help Gondor, then things would have gone badly, and the War of the Ring would have been lost, and Sauron would have regained the One Ring. And going to the final sacrifice I'll be talking about for this video, because I might do another one next year, but that is the sacrifice of Boromir. And this is another great one worth a moment of redemption. Although Boromir is generally a great person, he did fall to the temptation of the ring, and he gave his redemption through sacrificing his life to try and save Merry and Pippin. Although he did fail, he did all he could to redeem himself from the horrible thing he tried to do, and gave his life to try and protect two people who weren't fully capable of doing it themselves, since they weren't as great as a warrior as him, but still, it was really great to see him. He has a very nice death where he apologizes for all he's done and truly bonds with Aragorn in these last moments. And yeah, this is a great one to end off on, with him giving his life to redeem himself from a terrible mistake he nearly made. It was just truly amazing. But I want to know what you think of these. Which ones do you think I should include if I do this next year? Please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories.
Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.